So I have been out for the entire day pretty much shooting videos on this little Ryobi Track Saw. I had some issues with it, a couple of things that are really great about it, a couple of things I found that I'm not real keen on, but overall it was a pretty good little saw. Instead of playing the actual video sound where I was saying basically what I was seeing as I was seeing it, I wanted to kind of go back, delete all that out, and give you a more rounded review after spending several hours using this saw. So just real quick, I have used a track saw for quite a while now. I've got some other track saws, and so I am kind of familiar with a track saw. I know everybody likes the unboxing video, so here's the unboxing video. Okay, so this is the 4 amp HP battery that comes with the kit. This was fully charged, and this is actually the very last video, I think, or one of the last videos of the day. So I wanted to go ahead and show you what most people want to see. Will this saw cut? How good does it cut? Well, as you see here, this board is 39 inches, so it's almost 3 foot long. And so I just kind of put over here, set this at just under 1/4 inch, and push the saw, and now this particular board is about 1 7/8 inches thick. So this is maybe just under there. It's about 1/8 of an inch thinner than what the max that the saw says that it can cut. So right here, you're going to see the video is playing in real time, and the reason I wanted it to go into real time is so that you could watch this. I didn't quite have the saw all the way back as far as I should have, and when I went to put down, it caught and it kicked back. I had a good grip on the saw, I had a good grip on the track, so all it did was kind of throw me off from my line, which I should have went and reset the track and make sure it's straight. But if I hadn't had a good grip on there, I'd had my hand in the wrong position, that could have been an issue, because I don't know if you noticed it, but I'm not running with the anti-kickback on it. And I also went back and looked at every other reviewer that got these saws before they could be bought in the store and put out their reviews. Every single one of them that I've watched, they've all had the anti-kickback device removed off of it, because you cannot plunge the saw down on a piece of styrofoam like this. You can't run over a cut-through sawhorse with the design that they have of this anti-kickback device. I really am disappointed about that. So here's the boards that I just cut. I was up able to make about 12 cuts, so that's about 36 linear foot. It's not the 260 that they advertised on the box before the battery ran dead, but I was cutting through the maximum thickness of material. I'm sure at 260 is probably rated with plywood. All right, so this is a piece of 3/4 inch hardwood plywood. It's got a real nice veneer on the outside of it, and I cut it the full length of the track so that I could, trying to test this out. When I test stuff out, I like to try to test it to the max. Well, you really shouldn't cut all the way to the edge. You want the track to kind of stick off a little bit, so you see it kind of caught on the corner there a little bit. That's my fault, not the saw's fault. But if you can try to look here, I'll try to bring this up to the camera. That is like a perfect cut. You don't see any chip out. There's nothing, no splintering. So as far as cuts, that's what you want. You want a perfectly smooth cut, and you want a perfectly straight cut. So if that's what you're looking for, this saw will definitely do that. Like I say, there's a few other little things that I've already kind of touched on. I'm gonna go a little bit more in depth with that I don't like about it. But as far as a battery power track saw, this thing will get the job done. And if you want a Diablo blade, you can get a Diablo blade, but I'm using the factory blade on this, and I ran the battery down several times and did not have any issues with any of the cut quality. You probably didn't notice that. I didn't take a good enough picture, but that bottom base plate was put on crooked at the factory. You can see the screws on the bottom are kind of all the way to the left, and then the screws up here on the top, or the screws on the top were all the way to the left, and the screws on the bottom were all the way to the right. What I was trying to show there when I was taking this video was how the blade was not straight with the base. So this was giving me a lot of issues earlier in the day, and I'm like, how did these guys give this saw such a good review? The saw just wasn't put together good at the factory, but in the book there, it did have instructions on how to square the base with the saw, and after I did that, then it started cutting much better. So this is where I was kind of showing with the Ryobi saw here. You know, it goes in the track good. You have a little tab that you can turn and it'll lock it in the track, but then the saw can slide back. And there's a riving knife basically that you can put onto the saw. But once you put that riving knife on the saw, then the saw is almost, I don't want to say unusable, but it's not very user friendly, and most people can't use it the way that they use track saws. And that's why every single one of the reviews that I've seen that they put out prior to the release of the saw, that none of them had that riving knife on it. So, I'm showing here on the Win, and like I say, I'm cutting a lot of this out because, I was just so aggravated with it today, with all the issues I was having. Now, again, towards the end of the day, we got everything straightened out. I got that base plate lined up, and the only real issue is the kickback. On the Win, which is on the right there, there's a little spring-loaded knob that you twist, and it goes into the track and locks it from kicking back, so you don't have that riving knife and you're able to plunge the saw down. So this is just a better view of the riving knife, which is what they call the anti-kickback device. So this is the safety, and I think safety is pretty important with these saws, but with this Ryobi, the way it's designed, nobody's going to use it. So if you're not real concerned about the safety, that was my main issue with this particular saw today. Another thing to be aware of, a lot of the saws, the Craig saws, the Makita saws, Festool, the Win, all take the same track. And then DeWalt has a different track, and this track is completely different than all of those. So I know of no other track saw that will take this track. So once you get this track saw, you're not going to be able to upgrade the saw and keep the track. You're going to have to get another track. So when you look in the manual here, it has a part number for a 55-inch track. But when you go onto the Ryobi's Part Finder website, they do not have the part yet, so it's not available. So in recap, overall, the saw works. It cuts a straight line once you get it set up. Just be aware it may not be properly aligned out of the box like most are. So just take some time and go ahead and make sure that everything's square and that the blade is aligned with the track. Once you get that set up, the only real complaint's going to be is it's not upgradable because it's kind of a proprietary track. There's not a 55-inch track out yet. I'm sure it will be soon. And the other most important thing is that you're really not going to use that riving knife. And as you see right there in that little video, I had another little kickback again today. And, kickbacks are going to happen if you don't have that riving knife on there, or their anti-kickback. And the way this thing is made, nobody's going to use it. And I was really surprised because I didn't catch it when I watched all the other people's videos. But then when I got to using it, I went back in and rewatched every one of those videos. And I'm not kidding you. So all those guys, which they got the saws, I'm sure, for free. Most of them had the video out before the saw was ever able to be purchased. It's only been out and available for purchase for about a week now. So any reviews that are over a week from this date, they didn't have to pay for them. So I just want to give this information, and I'm not saying it's a bad purchase. It can be a great purchase, but just want you to know that it's not all perfect. So you are sacrificing a little bit, but as long as you know what you're getting, there's nothing wrong with it.